is going to start off this hour in Detroit. Hey, Luke, what's up?
Hey, everybody. Thanks for taking my call.
Sure, man.
Yep. So I'm 28 years old and looking to purchase my first house. And I'm calling, wondering if I should include things like stock compensation and yearly bonus in my total compensation when figuring out what a budget for a house would be.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, 25% of your take-home pay annually, regardless of where it comes from. Bottom line is, do you have money to pay the house payment at a fourth of your income and still have money left over to live life well? That's what this is. It's not like some kind of nuanced thing that if you're off 0.3% on your ratios or something that you're going to go broke. That's not the thing. The point is, don't buy a stinking house where your house payment's 50% of your take-home pay. You ain't got any money, and you're going to end up taking out a car payment when the car breaks.
Got it. Yeah, I was more kind of concerned with including things like stock and even side gigs, really, just because of if like the stock tanks and you were kind of depending on getting one chunk of it every
Well, if
quarter.
it's a big portion of, if it's 50% of your income, then I'd be worried about it. But it's not. It's 5%.
Got it.
So if you got zero, it doesn't change your life, and you'll probably get it the next year.
Got it.
And your income's going to go up after you buy the house, too, over time. Agreed?
Okay. Yep.
Yeah, so that's the other thing. The whole thing about the 25% of your take-home pay on a 15-year fixed rate ratio is just simply to keep you from getting yourself strapped to the wall, all in the name of, oh, God, I live in California and math doesn't count here, or stuff like that, right? Of course it counts there. Math works everywhere, and so it keeps you from getting emotional and doing something stupid but thing because you figured out that's the only house in the whole world that you can live in or something. That's what the ratio is for, is to make you think clearly and instead of using the emotional side of your brain. Because we all use the emotional side of our brain when making financial decisions, and they seldom work, John.
It never works, man. We bought a house last year. That ratio provided a great anchor for us, like just a place to stay tethered into. And we searched for 9 months, and the housing prices were escalating the whole time, and then the people were getting more and more dramatic. But always knowing, this is our anchor point here. Man, that provided so much stability. It provided me and my wife a place almost like home base. We could always go back to and say we're going to stay here.
And that's what it is. That's what the stuff we give you guys out there, these guidelines we give you, these steps we give you, and everything else is an anchor point. It just goes, okay, here's where common sense is. To the extent you're not lined up with that, you're probably about to make a mess, Bubba. That's all we're saying, right? So for me, it's simple. I don't borrow money for anything.
Right.
So my anchor point is, do I have the money? I have to start there, right?
Dave, how is that crazy?
Isn't that weird? But I have to start with, and it gets big. In my world, it's gotten big. Like, we just bought a piece of ground next door, a bazillion millions of dollars, right?
Yeah,
At 22 acres next door over here. And for this complex, this Ramsey freaking campus thing going. But even that, I'm looking at this massive, and it's a nice investment. It's a great real estate investment in a wonderful area, and thrilled we did it. But, Winston, Rachel's husband, does our real estate. We're sitting there looking at it, and we had to ask ourselves like we're in the grocery store line, we want to buy a pack of gum. Do we have the money?
Right.
And if we don't, the answer is we can't even look at this deal. There's something brilliant about the complexity of that.
You know how rare it is that I'm speechless. And I'm speechless at the idea that it sounds crazy to think as a business owner of a multi-million-dollar corporation to think, do I have the cash to pay for that? And that just sounds that puts you in the. I bet there's 1% of business owners in the country that run their machines like that.
But you know what? The other thing is, it does, and it does it in your personal life. It does it in whatever you're doing, whatever it is you're doing. There's just a lot of peace.
Yeah.
In that simplicity.
Yeah.
And people make fun of me. You don't understand this. You're not sophisticated. And I'm like, crap, man. I can pencil whip all of you that say that stuff. I understand the other stuff. But I also understand how I feel when a pandemic hits and I don't have any payments.
I don't owe anybody anything, yeah.
I also understand that I always seem to have money because I don't have any payments. It's just, these are kind of basic stuff, you know. But there's a cleanliness to it of the soul.
Yeah.
Of your spirit. I mean, you talk a lot about trauma on your show, and even calls that come in here and in the books and things. And you know, there's a thing. I guess we need to do a book someday on financial trauma.
Absolutely.
What it does to you to stay geared up, wired up, jacked up all the time about your freaking life because you bought a bunch of crap you can't afford with money you don't have to impress people you don't really like. This is a bad chemistry.
Yeah.
It does stuff to the body, I'm learning from you.
It melts you from the inside out. It's like dumping Drano down your sink once a year to get a hair clog out. It's not great, but it's fine. But if every morning you just get up and dump Drano down your sink, just to dump Drano down your sink, because that's just the way I live, it's going to eat through the pipes.
It'll rot your pipes.
That's right.
Yeah.
It'll make a mess, man.
Some of you got rotten pipes. And, you know, I live that way because you're just living from stress to stress.
Right.
It's like being, you know, in poor control of your time. Christie's book, Take Back Your Time. When you take back your time and you take back your money, man, it's just a lot of peace, you know?
I was reading a book a couple of months ago, Dave, and it was talking about some ways to just live a little more peacefully. And one of the things it suggested was this. Just for the next week, drive the speed limit.
Oh, now you're gone to meddling.
No, listen, man. I tried to drive the speed limit, and
Oh,
I
couldn't
thought
do
I
it.
was just walking.
No, that's not peaceful for me. That's quite the opposite.
No, but
for me.
listen, I did it for a week just to prove it. And I tell you what, I got to work. I had to leave a little bit earlier. A lot earlier. A lot earlier. But I got to work.
And you had no fun.
I wasn't frazzled. I didn't feel like I was being electrocuted. It was just, again, it's a different way to do life. I think, Dave, we have sped up the world so fast, so quickly, with so much bonkers advice, we don't even know what feeling good feels like.
If you never turned on the news for the next 10 days, at all, it's all going to happen anyway.
Yes.
And
if the
you're
apocalypse
just going to feel so much
somebody
better.
will text you.
So much better. Hey, listen, just tune in here. If something big's going on, we'll tell you. But we're probably not going to bring it up. So, because there's not much big enough for it to make in the news cycle for it to make it to this show, because we're a big deal and we don't really want to talk about that stuff.